Fatal mistake. Since he'd bought all of these books with his credit card, they could easily be traced. Finding his location would be child's play for any skip tracer worth his salary. Here's my first piece of advice for all you would-be disappearing artists. Don't buy this book with a credit card, but please do buy it. That white guy turned even whiter. He wasn't just idly curious about disappearing, he was serious. Or at least he thought he was. So I kept talking. I explained how I or another skip tracer would track him down. I'd call up his credit card company under a false pretense, claiming to be him, saying that I needed to go over my recent credit card purchases, and giving some made-up reason that sounded compelling. The customer service rep would then read me all the charges the guy had recently made, including the bookstore purchases. I'd say thank you, hang up, and call the bookstore and persuade whichever clerk picked up to tell me what I had bought with my credit card. I'd provide him with a transaction number or the name and address of a frequent shopper account. Once I knew the name of the books he'd purchased, I told the guy, I would have a pretty good idea of where he was headed. After that, I'd begin calling the airlines. U.S. Airways, Copa, American, all the companies that served Costa Rica, until I'd located his flight information. Then I'd look at customer records for car rental companies around the airport in San Jose. If he'd put down his real name and address, I'd be able to find the location of his hotel in minutes. I'd call up the repo company or the mafia or whoever had hired me, tell them where he was, and he could say sayonara to his great new life. You could see the "oh, fuck" in his eyes. He was dazed. I'd obviously just shot his grand disappearing plan to hell. But he was grateful. He asked for my phone number and said he wanted to call me to continue the conversation. We shook hands and went our separate ways. I left the bookstore and drove to my office where my business partner, Eileen Horan, was banging away on her computer trying to find all the people we'd been hired to locate that day. I told her what had just happened with the guy in the bookstore. After laughing about his dumb mistake with the credit card, we started to talk about how he really should be handling that move to Costa Rica. That got us thinking. Was this guy doomed no matter what he did? Was it possible to disappear without a trace? Could someone who's disappeared ever really feel confident that no one would find him, not even professionals like us? We went over everything we would do to throw a smart pursuer off his trail. First, we'd delete or destroy all the information that was out there on him, or at least make it damn hard to find. Then we'd concoct a bunch of deceptive leads that would send the pursuer on a wild goose chase. Finally, we'd build a new life for him quickly and quietly, using a series of anonymous private mailboxes and prepaid phones. Because Eileen and I used public records, credit reports, utility statements, and people search websites to do most of our skip tracing work, we'd be pretty much out of luck if those records were misleading or unavailable. We figured most other skip tracers would be too. As we talked, we realized we were onto something. We had valuable advice to give people who wanted to disappear. Plenty of books on the topic were available to the curious, but none of them had talked about the flip side of the coin. The people like me and Eileen who would stop at nothing to find someone if the price was right. As long as our skip tracing techniques and tricks remained a secret, no one had a prayer of outsmarting us. That was good for our business, but bad for our target's privacy and freedom. We thought law-abiding citizens deserved the chance to cut off contact with their past and begin a newer, more discreet life if that's what they chose to do. And we could help them do it. Why not start a disappearing business? I'll be honest with you. This new business prospect excited us for all sorts of high-minded moral reasons, but we were also getting antsy about the kind of shit we had to pull to bring home the bacon. Every day it seemed like another technique we used to find someone, such as calling up a cell phone company and pretending to be a customer or calling up a bank and lying our way into someone's account, was officially becoming illegal. Neither of us had ever been busted, but the cops had been giving us the side-eye for a while, and we felt as if our time was running out. And ever since a little run-in we like to call the helicopter incident, we had been especially paranoid. A couple of years back, Eileen and I had been living together.